Councillor, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, Sean, and it's been so long since we've chatted. I don't know, with COVID, with everything else, but it's so nice to be back and to be able to post some updates on Facebook for residents.
And I won't ask you about Clapperson's Avenue when it's going to open, because it's open.
Well, it's open now.
Yeah, so no more. But I do have a few repeating questions. But that one is out
however, before we leave Clapperson's, I must say it is not finished 100% yet. There's still sidewalks that need to go in. The lighting is in, which is what the holdup was to it opening. There's also pedestrian crosswalks, which have to be put in. So rather than wait any longer, the city took possession of the road. So now it's done, it's open, and hopefully it's made a big impact on getting traffic off of Hollybush.
All right, so we'll talk about, we'll start off with roads. We've had a few questions about potholes, stop signs, street lights, maybe speed bumps. If somebody, I know for potholes, you have to call the city and then they kind of prioritize it, but let's talk about stoplights, speed bumps and stop signs. If somebody wants one in their neighborhood, how do they go about doing that?
So the first thing that you can do is send an email into my office. And Christine, she goes through the email, she triages all of the categories and topics, sends them off to the appropriate staff. In terms of getting traffic calming done, there may be a requirement to get a petition to get people to sign on. Not everybody likes to have a speed bump at the end of their driveway or on their street. They do work, but they are noisy. So, you really need to have all the residents on the street, or I say about 70% of the residents being okay with having the speed bumps on. But, stop signs, same thing with stop signs. I know we did it on Hollybush. I think it was about 8 years ago, where the residents got together with myself. We had about 40 people in a meeting and talked about, I had traffic staff there. We talked about all the different traffic calming that could happen and worked together and came up with some options. So, we've done that in other areas as well. Main Street South, we did it again with quite a few residents. Just start it with an email to my office and we will get it in the hands of the right staff.
Some of the busier ones, I guess, Boulding and Spring Creek, like almost impossible to make a left during rush hour onto Parkside. But why am I forgetting the term? The bypass. Will that eliminate some of that?
Yes, it will, because there will actually be a stoplight, a full stoplight at Robson Road and the upgraded Parkside. So that section of Parkside from the railway tracks connecting to Avonside will be part of the bypass. So it's going to be upgraded. It's going to be 4 lanes. There will be sidewalks, bike lanes, multi-use path, and there will be a new full set of stoplights at Robson Road and Parkside. And so that will provide gaps in the traffic for anyone pulling out from Boulding.
Okay. And then let's shift over to, we're talking about neighborhoods. Let's talk about parks. I know we've had a few questions on parks. You said one park was going to be improved, and then we'll also address the Nisbet Park that has not been built.
Yes. So I'll start off with Gatesbury Park. Gatesbury Park is actually located off on Gatesbury Court. So it's off of Boulding. And we've been working really hard to get some upgrades into that park. Everything takes so long. This has taken about 5 years. And so we will have a new asphalt track going on that will go throughout the park, and it will connect It will connect Niska to Laurendale. And the parking lots will be connected as well. There will be some grading done, some landscaping, and just general improvement. So I'm very excited that we were able to get this finally in the budget and get it done for residents, because a lot of people use that park. Another park project is, of course, the Treaty Forest at Joe Sam's Park. It was brought to me by, of course, Nathan Tidrich, our history teacher from Waterdown High School, and he always has these projects that are a real teaching tool for his students. So when he came to me looking for a project to celebrate Queen Elizabeth's 70th year of reigning as the monarch, he came up with the idea of doing a treaty forest and actually planting 70 trees to honor the Queen, but also she was very instrumental in the treaty, if you will, with our Indigenous brothers and sisters. And so we've, Nathan and myself, and there's a committee, we've worked alongside the Mississaugas of the Credit and the Haudenosaunee, and they are very, very happy about the project. The Crown has approved it, supported it. So the city is donating all the trees, and Waterdown Rotary has donated $4,000 for a commemorative stone, if you will, a monument. And there's also going to be a sacred fire in there. So we, met on site. We had all the students with us. We had all staff with us, and the Indigenous folks joined us, the Chief Laforme, and walked the park, actually picked the location of where it's going to be. So I'm very excited. There's going to be a ceremony on June 18th, Saturday, June 18th. Please write it down in your calendars at 11 a.m. in Joe Sam's Park. Everyone is invited. It's a lovely project. The students have been involved right from the get-go. So they got to see how many people it takes to bring together to make a project like this happen. So I'm absolutely, absolutely thrilled with it.
And then Nisbet, I know this question comes up every time. Like people who've lived there for 10 years, the park isn't built. We have to, it's the builder not building it. Can't the city do anything to the builder?
So 12 years I've been the councillor. Before I was a councillor, I was, let me say, an advocate. Some would say I was an activist, but I like to say I was an advocate for getting things like that park built, getting the bypass built. I mean, our poor community of Waterdown has been under siege since the early 2002 and 3, when all of the development was approved at the Ontario Municipal Board. And so the Nisbet Park, the plan was always to have it built by the developer when all of the homes in that particular development were completed. And so where we are right now, there's been, kind of a refusal to go ahead and build the park and do the housing after. And, we didn't have that problem with Mattamy at the other end of town on the East End. They built the park first, and then they built the homes. And doesn't that make sense? Because then you can show the people buying the homes what kind of neighborhood they're going to be living in. So this has been a huge disappointment. There's been lots of angst over this particular park. Where we sit right now, the extension of the bypass connecting to Centre Road, which is North Waterdown Drive, Waterdown North Drive, sorry, is the name of that bypass. And so it is from Wimberley North, connecting into Centre Road. And anybody who drives up Centre Road just north of North Lawn can see where the intersection has been created. And so once they finish that connection, the next thing they're going to do is build the houses. And then the last thing that they're going to do is build that park. I have no idea. They will not give me timing.
We're not selling anymore in Waterdown right now, I'm assuming, right?
Staff have been
any protests there.
Oh my goodness, it's just been unbelievable. It's been, I tell you, it's been the most difficult fight that I have had in all the years that I have been in this position. So yeah, that's it.
All right, let's talk about I guess a couple other things that people, when they drive at the corner of Dundas and Centre Road, the gas station and the fireworks store, they're still for sale?
Oh, Sean, it wouldn't be an update, a video update, and an interview with you if I didn't get that question at least once. So some good news. First of all, I'm going to start with the secondary plan. So the secondary plan, which the community and my office and staff have been working on for 2.5 years, has finally been approved. And it is looking, the plan looks at the core of Waterdown and exactly what is it that people want to see built there. How do you want Waterdown to look going forward to 2051? And so where that gas station is on the northeast corner of Hamilton and Dundas, we took the zoning off that block so that it will no longer be allowed to become a gas station. And one of the fears I had was that, if the property owner, who also owns both plazas, decided not to build a building, they may just turn it back into a gas station. So the zoning was taken off. Staff wanted to do that. That was their recommendation. I approved it, agreed with it. And on the other corner, on the northwest corner, where an existing gas station is, should that gas station cease operating, then the zoning will come off that and it will no longer be a gas station. So what we really want is for the four corners, which is like a gateway, to be more commercial and residential. And so that is what the plan is. The secondary plan has also from on Dundas Street right through the core. So from Hamilton right through to just east of Mill Street, it is heritage protected, and there can only be 3-story buildings built on that stretch. And the neighborhoods surrounding it are also being protected within the secondary plan, so that you cannot have a 6-story, 10-story apartment building. So I'm very pleased about that as well. Then Hamilton Street, which is currently, Hamilton Street South, we have a 10-story building there. We have a 7-story building there on the south part. On the north part, we have a new 6-story, 5-story building going in. And so we have allowed for there to be development along Hamilton Street North for apartment buildings, office buildings, again, no more than 6 stories. So I'm really happy about the protections in place.
That seems like a good area to build those, because there is a retirement home going in there too, right?
Absolutely, on the corner of John and Hamilton Street. And yeah, and Mill Street is north, is already, and south is already protected with the Mill Street Heritage District. And so what we were able to do, we did a heritage inventory at the same time for all of Waterdown, and we put in an additional 200 properties onto that heritage listing for protection. So all the old buildings are protected. It doesn't mean that they've been designated. It means that they are protected. And so there won't be, any buildings being torn down in the core area and then putting other buildings up. And the last thing I'm going to touch on is the jam factory.
Right, yes.
There has been a lot of upset about the jam factory and misinformation being posted. So the jam factory is for sale, along with the 2 properties that are to the south. $14 million for that whole parcel. And some of the things that are in the real estate listing that they say can be done actually can't be done. So the jam factory is protected. So are the properties beside it and the 2 homes that are on it. They can't be torn down. So I've made sure that all of that was protected. And this was long before the property even came up for sale. There's also other protections on that jam factory property, which have to do with environmental protections because of the location of Grindstone Creek. And so there are protections with setback issues. The last piece is the CNCP tracks, which are running alongside Grindstone Creek. They have a setback, I think it's like 130 meters from the tracks and from the creek. So if you take 130 meters up into that property, that doesn't leave an awful lot of space to do anything. So it is protected, and I wouldn't support any application coming forward that was going to do something in the core. So I'm very, very happy with the secondary plan being done. Yay. Yeah, so I'm happy about that.
Speaking of Grindstone Creek, just off Waterdown Road there, is Waterdown, is it going to be expanded to 3 or 4 lanes?
Which part? Waterdown Road?
Waterdown Road, yeah, going into Burlington. Like that, that is Burlington, right? So
it is Burlington from the top of the hill where Mountain Brow is. Mm-hmm. So south of Mountain Brow is all Burlington except for one house, which is still in Hamilton. And so that is part of the bypass. Burlington will be building it. Hamilton will be paying for 95% of it. And that again was part of the OMB deal, which approved all the development in Waterdown, provided that we upgraded Waterdown Road. It's a 4-lane base that will have 3 lanes actually built on it. And so it's going to be quite a massive project. If you drive down, you'll see that some of the services, some of the locates have been done. There's been some grading done. Retaining walls have gone in. The next part of that is the water main, which will be built down at Flett Road, because they need to put in quite a large water main, because on Flett Road and Waterdown Road, there are 550 new homes going in on the Burlington side. So it's going to be under construction for, I would say, for the next probably 4 years.
More construction,
more construction. Yes, we don't have enough. We need to grow it.
And so we've talked of a few eyesores, a few things that haven't been done. Anything exciting coming to Waterdown that you want to share? I don't know. I just threw that at you. I know, but like anything that you can share, anything exciting, like businesses coming, developments, anything?
Yeah, we've. I mean, one of the commitments that was top of my campaign when I was reelected in 2018 was I wanted to bring at least 2,000 new jobs to Waterdown, because of course it makes sense. If you've got all the people moving in, you need to have the jobs there to sustain it, or you just become a bedroom community. And so I'm happy to say that we're able to bring L3, West Cam, brand new building, the big cube that you see behind Rona, 1,400 employees, and they're new employees to our area because they were previously located in Burlington. Liberty Engineering, which has invested in our community and has been on that escarpment kind of beside L3. They have been there for, I think, 30 years. They are expanding and have bought a building on the other side of Highway 6 on the Innovation Park area. And I believe they're adding about 50 to 70 new employees there. WPE Equipment, which is located on Highway 5, just west of Highway 6. They're a new company. They have quite a few employees in there. We have Stryker, which has been located in Flamborough. They had about 250, I think, employees. Then they built, we convinced them to stay, build the new building, and I think they're up over 300 employees now. So more new employees there. And we can't forget CHCH.
Right. Yes. That
one we worked on. Yeah, they were going to stay in downtown in downtown Hamilton. And I met with the president, who because you worked there, and a couple of other folks and staff. The pitch was made. They decided to stay, and they've moved up to Flamborough into Innovation Park, which I am really, really very happy about. And then, of course, we've got the other companies on Innovation Park who, Clear Cable, for instance, started off as a 2-man operation. I don't know how many employees they have now. I know it's more than 50 or 60. And, they've actually bought that building. So there's all kinds of new companies moving in. And it's well over 3,000 new jobs that have come in. So I'm staff just have done a wonderful job. We've all worked together to bring these companies here, and I'm very, very happy.
A couple other questions people had. Police station, any update on that? And what about possibly getting a community center in Waterdown, like with a pool?
So they're kind of tied together. As folks may be aware, I've been working on the community pool for 10 years. And the biggest issue, and the police station and the fire station. And part of the issue has been finding land, because the city does not own a lot of land in Waterdown and Flamborough area in Ward 15. And so, finding that available land that's serviced, because most of it's been bought up by the developers to build these new homes. So we're very, very close. I can't tell you where the property is, but we are very, very close to the city purchasing land, which I want to thank my council colleagues so much, because, there's been millions and millions of dollars invested in Waterdown, in Flamborough, and people just, they don't see it. And I understand they don't understand it, but there have been millions of dollars spent in all the upgrades. So we're very close. A feasibility study has been done for the pool. We know that we need a community center with a pool. Ideally, I'd like to see it built down at Harry Howell Arena. We don't have enough land down there, although we do have land from the old North Wentworth Arena. And so I was also very pleased. I'm on the Police Services Board now, of course. That's a new board that I have been appointed to by council. And we were able to get approval from both the Police Services Board and from council for a total of, I believe it's $18 million to build a new combined fire and police station. And really hoping to break ground this year in the fall. But the wheels are turning very slowly on that one as well. So I should touch on Carlisle Arena. Again, the TD Bank closed down 3 years ago, I believe it was, in Carlisle, right at the Four Corners. And one of the residents at a community meeting, and people were really, really super angry, and they had every right to be. One of the residents asked the executives that were there from TD Bank if they would ever consider donating the building. So I love that suggestion. The library board, of which I sit on as well, we got together with the CEO and staff at TD Bank. Took us 2 years to hammer it out, but they donated the building. And right now, construction is almost complete. It's going to be a beautiful, beautiful new library. I'm so excited. And there'll be a grand opening for that as well, which I'm hoping is going to be in May. It's so important because, before I was elected, the community in Carlisle was up in arms because we only had a portable library. And the board decision at that time that the then councillor at the time supported was to close the library, because in the small towns surrounding Waterdown and Hamilton and Dundas and Ancaster, we didn't need the library, so let's close them. And that just made people furious. So I am just I'm checking off all the boxes here, Sean. So we're going to have a new library come May.
Just anything else you want to touch on?
Yeah, actually there is. And I'm surprised you haven't asked me the question about this being an election year, whether I'm running or not.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, are you throwing your hat in?
So, no, I'm not. No, I've decided I am not going to run. I've served 3 terms. That's 12 years. And I said, right in my first term, I said that I believed in term limits, and I still believe in term limits. This is a commitment. This is something to me that has been very important to get all of these things accomplished. The reason I ran in the first place was because of all the development coming in. My experience is in senior management as an executive. So I knew this town of Waterdown and Flamborough, where I have lived for 35 years, needed to have someone who was qualified to be able to manage the development, to be able to stand up to some of the unfairness that can happen with developments that are coming in. I made that commitment. The people supported me. Thank you so much. I'm so grateful to be able to have served as your councillor and to have the residents who supported me right alongside, because no one does this on your own. You have to have the support and the benefit of your residents working alongside. We've accomplished so much together. And so I'm not running. And I've also had opportunities back in the corporate world. And not that I'm looking for a full-time job, but for different boards that I'm interested in participating in on a more national and international level. And those opportunities, they're coming out now. So, I'm getting tapped on the shoulder.
Kind of, yeah. I guess so. Maybe you can open up a landscape company and build a park. Wouldn't that?
Well, thank you for reminding me, because that was one of the things that myself and former councillor Rob Pasuta, when the city was looking at taking all the landscape zoning away so that landscapers could no longer locate in the rural area, they had to relocate into the commercial area. It was devastating because we had like 257 landscape operators. And so, we worked with planning staff to come up with a registry, if you will. Any existing landscapers could get on this registry, and they would be allowed to continue their operation, and they would be, allowed to continue and to prosper. And so everything went to the Ontario Municipal Board, because there were some residents that didn't want the landscapers here. And I'm happy to say we had 12 days, I think, of hearings, and we won. And I am so thrilled for all the small businesses that are now able to prosper and continue operations. So, yeah.
Thanks for your time, Councillor.
Thank you, Sean. I've so enjoyed this very much, as always.